my lovelies, I'm Carita and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is part 2 of my journey learning how to create my own 3D models in Nomad Sculpt. If you haven't watched the first part yet, I definitely recommend checking that out first and then coming back to this one. Just to quickly recap, in part 1 of this series, I sculpted the body of my character and painted the face. Now for part 2, I'm going to be modelling the clothes for this character. And if you haven't guessed already, the character I'm sculpting is actually my persona. I realised I don't have any fully fleshed out original characters yet, so this felt like the easiest place to start, but don't worry, I definitely plan on making a video in the future where I design and sculpt my own original characters. Also, just a small disclaimer, I have very little experience with 3D modelling and there aren't a lot of tutorials specifically for creating collectible style figures in the Nomad Sculpt community, so this project ended up being more trial and error than I expected. But honestly, that's kind of the fun part, figuring things out as I go. So let's get started with this model. Before I actually started this recording, I did a few experiments beforehand. I wanted to get a bit of knowledge before fully committing to the model. After watching a few TikTok videos, I discovered that the masking tool was probably going to become my best friend during this process. I also made a few adjustments to the model itself, especially around the butt area, because it was affecting how the clothes were sitting on the body. I also removed the ears entirely since my persona wears a hijab, so there wasn't really any point in keeping them. To start, I used the masking tool and extracted the shape for the hijab cap, then painted it. I knew I'd be using this masking technique a lot throughout the process, so I wanted to get a clearer idea of how it would look early on. Next was the actual hijab. For this, I decided to use the tube tool, laying out the front of the hijab since none of the other tools were really working well for the shape. For this entire model, I didn't focus too much on adding small details to the clothing because I wanted to keep the design fairly simple. After placing the tube for the front, I used the masking technique again to create the rest of the hijab. I merged the pieces together and decided to use the drag tool to fill in any areas that my mask might have missed. Once I was happy with the overall shape, I smoothed everything out, adjusted it slightly, and then moved on to colouring it. Next up were the trousers, which were probably the easiest part. I went back in with the mask tool, adjusted the thickness of the mask and extracted the area. After adding a few small details, it was time to move on to the dress. For the dress, I separated it into 3 parts, the top, the skirt and the sleeves. Starting with the top, I used the masking technique again and followed the same process I had used earlier. The skirt, however, was a bit of a struggle. I first tried using the mask technique to block out the shape, but it ended up looking more like shorts than the skirt, and no amount of dragging could fix that. The second idea was trying to use a cylinder, but because my model is quite curvy, just like me in real life, that method didn't really work either. Third time's the charm, or so I thought. I tried using the lathe tool and it gave me a really nice shape. The whole feature just wouldn't work properly. At that point, I was honestly close to scrapping the whole thing. But thankfully, the tube tool came to the rescue again. I started with a basic tube in the middle and expanded it to cover the skirt area, adjusting the radius along the tube to shape it properly and create the hole I needed. After that, I went back in with my best friend, the drag tool, to refine the shape. Once I was happy with the form, I split the tube and started trimming the front of the skirt. The back was a lot easier, just a bit of dragging, merging and smoothing. I did run into a small issue when painting the dress. The inside of the dress is blue while the outside is white, and the blue kept showing through in places where it shouldn't, which was honestly stressing me out a bit. Eventually, I fixed it by duplicating the back area, painting that part blue and adjusting it so the white stayed on the outside while the blue only appeared on the inside. I'm sure there's probably a cleaner way to fix that using the paint tools, but at that point I just wanted it to work. At this stage, the model was really starting to come together and I was getting really excited to see the final result. The last part was the sleeves. A simple tube worked perfectly here and I just used the drag tool to adjust the shape slightly. After that, I spent some more time merging everything together and smoothing out the model. And then my application crashed again. I'm not even joking, I just stared at my iPad in pure disappointment. I did try to give her some shoes, but it just wasn't working out, and by that point I'd already spent over an hour modelling. Off camera, I also adjusted the lighting a little because the colours didn't look accurate to what I had actually painted. And with that, she was done. My persona fully sculpted in 3D. I was honestly so happy with how it turned out. In the future, I'd love to keep making more figures like this and hopefully even get them 3D printed once I eventually get my hands on a 3D printer. And with that, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed this video and want to continue and grow with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye my lovelies.